This is the Nissan Leaf E+, and this is just a quick review of it because I reviewed the entry-level version of this car about a year ago, and to be honest, not a lot has changed. But if you want to check out that review, which is a little more in-depth than this one, then just click the link up there. Yeah, that's it. Now, the main difference between this car and the entry-level version is the battery. It's 62 kilowatts, which gives you over 100 kilometers extra range to a total of 385 kilometers. Now, when I drove the 40 kilowatt version last year, I had a lot of range anxiety. In fact, I did have to recharge the car during the week I had it, which was a very slow process, and as it turned out, expensive at my local car park. When you added in the car parking charges, it ended up costing just as much as a full tank of petrol. And even then it wasn't fully charged. Here though, with 385 kilometers of range, I seldom drive more than that in a week, so I'm not stressed. And also, because there are no charging facilities in the building I live in, I can't charge this car overnight. So if I run out of charge during the week I've got this car, it really is quite inconvenient. To drive the Leaf, it feels just like a quite well-performing small hatchback. Sort of like the equivalent of having a 1.5 litre turbo. There's plenty of pickup. It's all very linear, of course. There's no turbo lag. And it will get you to 100 kilometers per hour in 6.9 seconds, which is actually quite respectable. There's 160 kilowatts of power and 340 newton meters of torque. The steering feels very direct, and the suspension, maybe it's a little firm, could be a bit softer, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. One thing I don't understand about this car, well, actually there's a lot of things I don't understand about this car, especially the price, but we'll get to that in a minute, is that if this is supposed to be the future of motoring, you know, all electric, and there goes the windscreen wipers again. I meant to turn the indicator on, so confusing. Anyway, if this is supposed to be the future of motoring, all electric and high tech, then why does the interior of this car feel so old hat? It feels like I'm sitting in a Nissan Teeter from 2003 in here, because the center console screen is quite small and it's got a very low resolution picture from the reversing camera. The climate controls and the seat heating controls, again, just look really kind of old. There's no power adjustment on the seats. The park brake is actually operated by your foot, and I mean, that's not something that we've really seen in a lot of cars since about the 1970s. Also, there's no cordless charging for your phone. And again, at this price point, all of those features are a given in other cars. In fact, in cars much cheaper than this one. The great thing with electric cars, of course, is the instantaneous power. There's no turbo lag. So when you put your foot down, especially when you're darting in and out of city traffic, you can be very maneuverable and get out of tight situations quite quickly. With the E-pedal switched on, the Nissan Leaf will let you drive with pretty much one pedal. So as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, the car will slow down to a stop quite quickly, which also has the added benefit of recharging the battery. And you can actually see that on the dial here on the instrument cluster in front of the driver. And yeah, it's quite interesting to watch. You're kind of constantly trying to make sure you can maximize the amount of charge going to the battery. Looks-wise, the Leaf isn't a bad-looking car. It certainly looks better than the model it replaced. It's sort of a cross between a Toyota Prius and a Corolla, maybe. It's not a bad looking car. So the Nissan Leaf E+ is not a cheap small car at all, coming in at $64,990. That is unbelievably expensive for a car this size, and it's about double what you would pay if it was powered by petrol. But Nissan have got a bigger problem with this car than me just giving it a middling review. It's called the Tesla Model 3. And Tesla have slashed the price of their entry-level Model 3, and it is now $5,000 cheaper than this car. It also goes to 100 kilometers per hour, 1.3 seconds faster than the Leaf, has 60 kilometers further range in its battery, and it's a bigger, much better looking car, to be honest. And of course, there's that amazing interior in the Tesla with that giant center console screen which operates everything. I mean, there's just no comparison between that and the Nissan Leaf. And of course, then there's just the cachet of the Tesla name, which is synonymous with electric vehicles. It seems like it was a very calculated move on Tesla's part to make the Model 3 cheaper than this, because it now makes it so much more accessible. Electric cars are still not cheap. Price parity with their petrol cousins is still a few years away. But if you're an early adopter and you want to get into an electric car now, then the Tesla Model 3 is pretty hard to go past.